Shalom and welcome to another episode of GMS Walk and Talk. Today we're going to talk about Ezekiel, the first chapter. This is a request from a brother. He used to be in the Chicago camp, but now he moved down to Mississippi. And you know, the Spirit's telling me he's a good brother, you know, very diligent. And he always asked us about doing Ezekiel, the first chapter, you know, going into it, explaining it. And I always forgot, you know. I felt bad about it, so I said, you know, the last email I received from him, I said, look, brother, I'm going to do it, or we're going to do it, you know. So here it is, brother. And hopefully, you know, you other brothers will be edified through the spirit of this lesson. And of course, we're coming in the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. We're here to feed the elect, because that is our, you know, that's our duty. So, without further ado, let's jump into the lesson. Ezekiel, the first chapter. Okay, so let's get into Ezekiel, the first chapter. We're going to begin at the first verse. Now, keep in mind, basically, this is a vision that Ezekiel received. And the vision was about him getting the word of the Heavenly Father, the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And his job was to, being an Israelite and a prophet, his job was to go to the Israelites and to show them that word that he received. Now, he received that word in a spectacular fashion. As a matter of fact, he saw a chariot, and out of the chariot came the angels of the Heavenly Father. And it was all done, basically it was all done dramatically. And that's what the first chapter of Ezekiel is really all about. So I'll start the first verse. Now it says, "Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month." You notice there's no Monday, no Sunday, no Wednesday,
Tuesday.
no Tuesday. Why? Because you didn't have that back then. So you guys that, you know, to segue into another point, you guys that believe that Friday night sundown to Saturday night sundown is the Sabbath, you're going off, man. Because there was no Friday. I'll read it again. It says, "Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month." Where's Tuesday, brother? Where's Wednesday?
It ain't in there.
It ain't in there, that's right. "As I was among the captives by the river Kabar," now I was discussing with Elder Ramlab, I looked up the location of the river Kabar, and you'll see it. The city of Babylon was built right on the river. As a matter of fact, the river flowed right through the city. And I made an observation that in the ancient world, when they built cities, they were all really built by water, by bodies of water. And Elder Ramlab and myself were talking, and there's a good reason for that, because, you know, the water was needed to bathe, to drink, to feed the animals, and to move the product for the city, to move it along the river, along the waterway.
That's right.
So you know, that was common sense. You know, if you look at the map and you look at the deserts, like the Sahara Desert, there was no cities built there. You'd have to be a madman to build a city in the desert. You know? All right. You wanted to make a comment? Okay. "I was among the captives by the river Kabar, that the heavens were opened, and I saw the visions of the Heavenly Father." See, like I said at the top, it was a vision. "In the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of King Jehoiachin's captivity." Now this was the Babylonian captivity. All right, we were underneath the Babylonians. "The word of the Lord came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzai, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Kabar, and the hand of the Lord was there upon him. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud." Now what is that? That's the chariot.
The chariot.
How do we know this? If we go to the book of Psalm 104 and 3, Psalm 104 and 3 explains
And they called it a whirlwind because it was like a disc shape that was doing, you know, I mean, it was spinning, basically.
That's right. Psalm 104:3. And it's talking about the power of the Most High, right? Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. So the chariot that, or the cloud that Ezekiel saw there, the great cloud, was a chariot, right? A great cloud and fire enfolding itself. Now we all know in a natural cloud, fire is not going to be within that cloud. That was a chariot. The fire was the brightness of the chariot.
Right. Okay? They kind of show you that in the movie Independence Day.
Yep.
When that big chariot came, it came out of a cloud and it looked like it was fire coming out of it.
That's right.
You know, it was a big chariot. You know, they got that from the scriptures.
That's right. See? What we tell you about them directors. Another point to be made is the movie Fire in the Sky. All right, what was that dealing with? Chariot.
Chariots, yep.
Okay. Another point to be made. There's a song called St. Elmo's Fire, which goes back to what Columbus described the chariot as. Because as Columbus was so-called making his discovery, which is bullshit.
Right.
When he arrived in the Americas, guess what Columbus saw? He saw a chariot.
Yep.
And he called it St. Elmo's Fire. Showing you, Columbus was a learned Jesuit devil, man. He was he knew about that, all, you know, the chariots and all of that, you know.
That's right.
So it stands to reason he knew that about Esau, Edom, Israel, who the Israelites are. He knew who those people were.
That's right.
That he came to conquer and butcher, man. Don't listen to the so-called white man and his fucking lies about Christopher Columbus was searching for a better passage to India.
That's bullshit.
Oh, bullshit, man.
That's why he made that statement about Esdras.
That's right. That's right. As a matter of fact, I had another precept, Revelation 10. You can expound on that, brother? The statement about Esdras?
Yeah, because when you watch that movie 1492, he made it, you know, he was going back and forth with this friar, I believe it was. Or
that's priest. The scene with Gerard Depardieu?
Yep.
In the movie 1492, yep.
That's right. You know, he was discussing with him, and the guy was basically, the priest was asking him, said, look, how do you know? Because he said that he believes the whatever is 7 or 10 leagues to the west, up to the east or west or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, how do you know this? He said the calculations of
Descanes,
and
you mentioned a couple of other names.
Couple of other navigators, and he said Esdras.
Then he said Esdras.
And
yep.
then the other guy said Esdras is a Jew.
Yep.
You know, so he knew exactly where he was going.
Because he was a Jesuit devil, hired by the Borgias.
Yep.
Yeah. The next precept I have for Psalm 104:3 is Revelation 10:1-3. Now this is John on the Isle of Patmos. He actually saw a chariot too, and it's recorded here in the vision that he had. And I saw another mighty angel. This is Revelation 10:1, come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud. What is that cloud? The chariot. And a rainbow was upon his head, and his face were as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. That's all describing the glory of that chariot, right? And he had in his hand a little book open. That little book symbolized the Bible, or represented the Bible. And he set his right foot upon the sea, and his left foot on the earth. Now that chariot had a landing pod. When the chariot landed, the pods landed, and the chariot, positioned itself. And cried with a loud voice, as when a lion roareth. And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. And when, well, that's the 3rd verse. So basically, that's the point. Even John, on the island of Patmos, when he received this vision, just like Ezekiel, he saw a chariot.
That's right.
Okay. Now let's go back to Ezekiel. Ezekiel 1:4. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. And I believe amber is like a yellowish color.
Yep.
So that was the lights of the chariot, which appeared, it was so bright it appeared as fire. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. Now these 4 living creatures were angels, all right, and they appeared like a man, or they looked like a man, all right. And the angels can appear looking like men. We can prove that in the book of Judges 13 and 6. That's just one example, to give you an example. That's why it is written, you can jump in on this, Elder Ramla. That's why it's written, how's it go? For some have entertained
strangers unawares.
Yeah, entertain angels.
Strangers unawares. Yep.
Yeah.
The angels could appear like men. They could appear like apparitions. They could appear like anything.
Yeah.
You know, they're terrible to look upon.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that leads us right into the next precept. Judges 13 and 6. It says, then the woman came and told her husband. This is the woman being Samson's mother. All right. And basically Samson's father and Samson's mother saw an angel. All right. And this is how they describe the angel. The woman came and told her husband, saying, a man of God came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of the Heavenly Father, very terrible.
Check that out.
But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name. All right, so this was an angel sent by the Heavenly Father to give instructions to Samson's father and Samson's mother concerning Samson. All right, because the Lord would raise up Samson to deliver us from the Philistines, and Samson would be a great judge, you know. So that's just one, you know.
And if I may say this too, when you read the book of Tobit, now Tobit sent his son Tobias to go get a wife, and the angel that accompanied him, if I'm not mistaken, was Raphael.
Right.
But the whole time,
Raphael. Yep.
Yeah, the whole time he was thinking that he was of just another man, you know, of a good, you know, of good pedigree. Right. You know, he just believed he was just a just man. Right. And the reason why Raphael was sent to him was because the word Raphael, Rapaya Allah, means the healing of the power. And he was sent there to heal his father's blindness, and to heal, you know, to get rid of that demon that was Asmodeus, I believe it was, that was plaguing that woman. Right. So he was a healing angel. That's why he accompanied him. That's right. But he appeared as a man. Yeah. And he even acted like he was eating and everything, and he wasn't eating. Then
later, I think he revealed that he was an angel. And then when he saw him eating, he really wasn't eating.
Exactly. That's right. So it was an illusion.
Yeah, it was all an illusion. So that's the power of Yahweh Shemiah Shai. You know. Anyway, let's go back in Ezekiel. It says, also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. Those were angels, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and every one had 4 faces, and every one had 4 wings. So it's telling you every angel, all right, had 4 faces. Right. Now those 4 faces, and the Most High could do that. That's right. All right, the Heavenly Father is way out, man. You ever look at a giraffe? Yeah. Look at how long the neck of a giraffe is. The Most High created that, showing you how way out the Heavenly Father is, man. So he can have an angel with 4 faces. Yeah. All right? And that would terrify the average human being, but that's what it's all about. It's about showing that power, man.
Most High is terrible.
Most High is terrible. Hey, did not Samson's mother said when she looked upon the angel, he had the countenance of an angel, very terrible? That's right. So, you know, so the Most High don't have to come all effete and you know, he comes with power, man. That's right. You know, sometimes he comes, you know, cool, but sometimes he comes vicious. Right. You know?
That's the many characteristics of the Most High.
That's right, man. Reading on, it says, also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. And every one had 4 faces, and every one had 4 wings. So they had 4 faces, they had 4 wings. And those 4 faces were significant. They had meaning, as we will see. And their feet were straight feet. And their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot. And they sparkle like the color of burnished brass, which is burnt brass, which lets you know what color they were. Right. They were dark-skinned men, all right, so-called black men, all right. And that's another thing with the so-called white man. He draws these beginning with Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci.